The Saints lost 20-13 in Sunday's matchup against the Arizona Cardinals in what many fear might be a pretty long season coming up. What do we think? Find out on this next episode of the Who Dat Weekly. Hit that intro. Yours truly was at the game, and he had a lot of thoughts to think about. There's a lot to talk about what happened in Sunday's game that I wish had either gone better or that I was actually pretty pleased with. So let me go ahead and switch screens real quick because I actually made some little upgrades so that way we can display what we're talking about today's episode. So there we have it. So I pulled up Sunday's stats just so we can go over it real quick, talk about what we liked about yesterday's game, what we didn't like about yesterday's game, and let me tell you, there's a lot of both things that we didn't like in this game. So, and of course, there was a couple of things we actually did like in this game. So I'm going to start with how the game went. I'm going to go through it pretty quickly. So the game started out pretty strongly. The defense they were on the field first against the Cardinals. The Cardinals got the ball first, and on top of that, the Cardinals went 3-and-out immediately. The defense just they let them have it. They pulled out all the stops in the world, and let me tell you, at one point we really thought we might have a defense again. And then the offense came out, and the Saints offense came out, and they went immediately 3-and-out. We're like, oh, it might be one of those games. So, and in a sense, it kind of went that way throughout the game, but it didn't exactly go the way we thought. So, we thought the Saints offense would be so mediocre to the point where they could barely score more than 3 points, and they did score more than 3 points. Don't get me wrong, and the score says it itself, but it's how the offense as a whole actually generated those points. And this is where some of the positives kind of kick in. So, Spencer Rattler, despite the first drive where they went 3-and-out, they actually looked pretty solid. They actually were able to muster up some good drives. They drove down the field pretty quickly, and they were able to get some good scores, especially on their second drive where they went down all the way to I believe it was 2 out of 4 red zone trips, if I'm correct, and it led to an Alvin Kamara 10-yard run touchdown or something of the sort. And at that moment, we thought, oh, this could be good. Maybe the offense finally woke up. Not so much. The Arizona Cardinals eventually came back and stormed right down that field and took the lead right back to make it, at that point of the game, 10-7. And then after that, the offense kind of struggled a little bit, but they were able to march down the field. But here's the thing: we missed a field goal. No thanks to Blake Groupie. Thanks for nothing. So, but afterwards, the Cardinals once again they scored, and the defense looked like they were actually getting cooked left and right. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. It's going to be a long game, folks. So I just sat there preparing for the worst. But the worst actually did not happen. As the second half rolled in, we got the ball back. We immediately went 3-and-out. Oh, wait, before that, actually, before the Cardinals scored, before to end the half, we did score a field goal to make it 17-10 at half. But it's the second half I think I saw the most improvement. The offense started to trickle in some late drives to make it close, and to try and tie the game. But unfortunately, it didn't pan out that way. But the defense made enough stops for us to give the offense a chance, and that's something that really stood out to me the most. Is that how the defense was able to respond with the offense kind of sputtering throughout the third quarter in particular, and they gave us enough opportunities to where they shut down the Cardinals' offense. They held them to 3 whole points for the entire second half, which is actually pretty dang good, you ask me. So, but unfortunately, it wasn't enough. We lost 20-13, and it sucks. So let's go. Let's talk about some of the positives from this game, and there's a couple of them. Like I mentioned, Rattler actually played pretty well. I think for the most part, he maintained himself. I would say. Unlike a lot of people, they always thought he absolutely sucked yesterday, which I don't know what exactly you're looking at. But to me, he actually looked pretty solid. He finished today on, let's see, he finished 27 out of 46 for 214 yards. No touchdowns thrown, but no picks thrown. And that's the big thing I could take away from his performance is that he actually secured the ball pretty well. Now, there was one play I got to criticize him on, and this was like early in the game. He made a big-time throw, and I think it was going towards Shaheed, but he overthrew him so badly it got picked. But luckily for us, there was a penalty on the Arizona Cardinals, and that wiped out the interception. But those were like a couple of throws I did not like from Rattler whatsoever. So I need him to get a little more accurate with his throws in terms of the deep ball. And yeah, but for the most part, he was actually pretty consistent, even though his percentage-wise is only 58%. I mean, that's not great, but hey, it could be a lot worse. We didn't get blown out. And Rattler did the best of his ability to maintain control and maintain security of that football. And that's something I did not see out of him one bit last season. So that, to me, tells me he's growing a little bit in terms of being a quarterback. Now, the bad things about Rattler, as I mentioned, he made a couple bad throws, like the one that could have been picked off, but unfortunately, fortunately, there were penalties against the Cardinals that erased those defensive plays by the Cardinals. And but the one thing that kind of drove me nuts throughout this game is was like he kept doing a lot of short down, check down kind of throws, like short to medium throws. I'm like, you gotta spread that ball around more. I don't know for certain if that was on Rattler being scared to throw it downfield after it nearly got picked the first time, or he was just being ultra conservative, or maybe Coach Moore was responsible for him not doing it. But I don't think that last one was the reason why. I don't believe that whatsoever. I think Kellen Moore called out those plays specifically so that Rattler can actually throw the ball to him. And make those timely throws. But I guess either the receiver was just simply not open. I don't know for certain, but I was at the game, and I was kind of like in this dome where you're like facing the field frontwards instead of like on the sideline. Whoop, there goes my mic. But yeah, so like I was saying, so I kind of got a good picture of like both ends of how the Saints offense was rolling. And I can tell you one thing. Rattler did miss several wide open receivers. I guess he either didn't see, or maybe he was just he folded under pressure too quickly, and he had to settle for the check down. So, like, for example, like I saw on one play, I wish I had it in front of me, but Devon Vell was wide open when he threw that called back interception in the first half. And I was like, oh, you missed him right. He was right there. How do you miss him like that? Oh, those were one of the throws. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Other throws, for example, like he threw a pass to Chris Olave, and he got his head rocked on that one play. And Saints fans were just furious with Rattler over that. I'm like, I get it's bad, but at the same time, that's kind of a common throw when you're doing a wide receiver screen. The quarterback's going to throw those throws. The problem was the receiver was supposed to block, and he didn't do that. So is that really on Rattler? I don't think so. But at the same time, if Rattler had a better opportunity to throw a more secure pass, then yeah, you might want to do a little bit better job than that. So yeah, those are the kind of like my takeaway of Rattler's performance overall. And I think it was like, I'm not going to say he blew me out of the water with his performance, because he played kind of similar to like last year. But I did see some good growth out of him where he's playing ball security better. He's making smart passes, which were needed. But I just need him to take a few more chances to throw downfield and be a little more accurate when it comes to balls like that. So those are my little nitpicks about Rattler. But hopefully he'll do better the next game. But that's gonna be a fun one to talk about in my next video when we take on the San Francisco 49ers. Ugh. Anyway, so moving on. So still talking about the offense. So the offense as a whole, believe it or not, we actually outgained the offense 315 yards, as y'all can see right here. 315 yards to 276 yards. I couldn't believe it myself. I was like, how did we outgain this offense? Like, how? And on top of that, when you have stats like that, we should have won, right? No. Here's where the problem is. I'm going to scroll down real quick. Make sure there's scrolling. There we go. So you can see right here. Look at how many penalties. 13 penalties. In total, there was 22 penalties in this entire game. 9 on the Cardinals and 13 on the Saints. 13 penalties. Coach Moore, what were y'all doing? Like, this is... So, I'm sorry. Like, this was on the coach here. And look, I get it. Coach Moore, this is your first game, your first regular season game as a head coach, so I'll give you grace. I will give you grace, but 13 penalties. That is something that has absolutely killed us multiple games last season alone when we had freaking Dennis Allen. You can't have 13 penalties. That tells me you're not doing a good job as a head coach. But again, I'm going to regress. I'm going to give him a little grace because he's a new coach. He's going to make these mistakes. And here's another thing about Coach Moore that I didn't like. It was late in that first half when the Cardinals got, I think it was either a touchdown or a field goal, whichever one it was. But I didn't like the fact that he didn't use his timeouts to give us an opportunity to drive down the field and steal some points before the end of the half. He let the clock dry down to I think it was like 23 seconds left in the first half. At that point, why aren't you using timeouts? Don't you want to get another chance at the ball? Don't you want to try and get another chance to score? Every coach does it. Even Dennis Allen did that last year, I think. Come on, yeah. So yeah, those are the things I noticed from his coaching style. I hope you do improve on that. And like I said, you're new to the whole head coaching games, or maybe you're trying to figure out your own style, which is totally fine. But you can't do that, man. You just simply can't. I really think if he had called those timeouts a lot sooner, we probably could have gotten at least a field goal and make the score, I don't know, say 20-16 or something like that. So, yeah. So the penalties, man. The penalties were the killer of this game. And here's the worst part of it. Here's the worst part about these penalties. The penalties were mainly from snap infractions. Whenever we were on offense, someone's doing a false start, a holding. It's mainly behind the trenches. It's what are y'all doing, man? Goodness gracious, you gotta know your snap count at least. You gotta know that, right? You've been playing football for the longest of time, with the exception for Kelvin Banks Jr. I mean, he's a rookie for the team, but I don't think most of the calls were on him specifically. It was mainly on, I think, randoms or something like that. You gotta know your snap counts better. I don't know if this was, first game jitters for everybody or what, but it was a pitiful display of Saints football in terms of penalties. This was just bad. So, but I would say... I'm not going to say the penalties were the sole reason to why we lost the game. They are one part of the reason, just like I mentioned that Coach Moore's coaching decisions were also another part of why we lost this game. But another thing I will blame for how we lost this game was the lack of catches by our receivers. Good God. The big one for me was Juwan Johnson dropping that touchdown that could have tied the game for us and give us another shot at overtime. Or if they wanted to get risky, go for two. They could have had a lot of opportunities if he had caught that ball. And it wasn't just him dropping balls. Chris Olave didn't do a whole lot either. Rashid Shaheed didn't do a whole lot. Brandon Cooks, he only had like one catch. I counted literally one whole catch. I didn't see Devon Bell get any catches whatsoever. So like we wasted a 4th-round pick for him to just sit on the sideline and do jack squat. Come on, man. Like we have to do better than that. So, but yeah, those are the negatives I just simply did not like whatsoever. Let me go ahead and switch back to the original screen here. But yeah, those are things I just didn't like. We could have done so much better. It had none of these things happened. But my biggest positive takeaway that I can give at the moment is that the team did show a lot of fight. They showed a lot of fight in this game, and I'm very satisfied with that because if we had this team from last season being down the way we were yesterday, I think we were just flat out giving up. We wouldn't have even tried to tie this game. That encouraged me and told me, okay, this team definitely has some fight in them, but they need to actually finish games. And let me tell you, that throw to Juwan Johnson, Rattler couldn't have thrown a better ball, if you ask me. That looked like a very Drew Brees-like throw. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Drew Brees. Let's get that straightened out real quick. All I'm saying is that he placed a perfectly timed ball to where Juwan Johnson can go up, make a play, secure the touchdown, force overtime. But he dropped it. Now let's talk about the positives on defense. So, like, the defense, as I mentioned, like, they had some struggles here and there throughout the game, but to hold the Cardinals to 20 points, and the Cardinals have a pretty solid offense for the most part. Are they, like, lights out crazy good? Absolutely not, no. But they're good enough to where they can make plays, make splashy plays, and absolutely burn you on either a quarterback sneak or a big-time throw to the tight end. Like, that's what killed us most, for the most part, was the quarterback scrambles and the tight end throws. Like, that was, like, the two biggest popular throws. Like, Marvin Harrison Jr. was almost a non-factor. He did get the Cardinals one of 2 touchdowns yesterday. But he really wasn't that much of a factor. Like, he really wasn't. Like, it was mainly the tight end being the most action. They ran the ball pretty heavily, and Kyler Murray just running all over the place. So, but here's the thing that the defense did really well. They found a way to, like, kind of contain Kyler Murray a lot better than they have against any other mobile quarterback. So that, to me, shows some good sign. Players like Demario Davis, Cam Jordan, good God, as old as they are, they still got it. Cam Jordan had 2 sacks yesterday, and Mario Davis was just like a missile, a heat-seeking missile. He had 6 solo tackles on the day, and he caused pressure left and right. Like, the D-line actually looked really good. I'm not going to lie. It actually looked really good. And on top of that, that same D-line did a really good job in containing the run game for the Cardinals. Like, the rushing attempts, I know it looks bad. Like, in fact, hold on, let me change screens real quick so I can show y'all. So as you see right here, this is the run game. So, like, the Cardinals obviously outran us by, let's see, 39 rush yards. So, like, 146 isn't that bad. It may look bad, but keep in mind, a lot of those scrambles came from Kyler Murray himself. So, if we're talking about just the run game, James Conner was almost a non-factor. The only reason they got big buco yards was from that one run by, I forget who the running back was, but Benson. Let's see. What's his name? Trey Benson. Yeah, Trey Benson was he had a huge 40, 50-yard run that really racked up those yards. But overall, if you take away that run, the Saints defense did a really good job in stuff in the run for the most part. So I was actually really pleased with that performance. And on top of that, like, if you look at the Saints' offensive rush attack, 107 yards, that's not bad. And most of the carries were split between Alvin Kamara, Kendry Miller, and then Devin Neal was actually thrown out there. I was kind of surprised to see him out there. I thought he'd maybe just be like on special teams for the most part, but he got some runs. I was actually pretty impressed. And the other thing I did notice is like we outgained him in terms of like average yards per carry or per throw or how the offense rolled for the most part. We actually outgained him in terms of passing yards, 4.4 average. And at the same time, we just barely lost to them. The Cardinals got 5.4 yards per carry, which is something we probably should get better at. But overall, pretty satisfied look on defense for the most part. Now, here's the thing the defense definitely got to get better at. You got to get better in the passing game, because the secondary got cooked for the most part in this entire game. Like Kool-Aid McKinstry, he got raffled all day long. Like, he just could not get proper coverage. Alontae Taylor struggled a little bit here and there. Not as much as Kool-Aid McKinstry, though. But the safeties and cornerbacks, we got to do a better job in wrapping up our tackles and get better coverages. And on top of that, the penalties. Again with the penalties. They were bad on defense, too. They were ridiculous. There were multiple occasions where the defense had an opportunity to get them off the field on to force 3 and out, and what happened? Somebody's doing pass interference, defensive holding, face mask, or something. Like, this was just bad. It goes back to what I was talking about being a very undisciplined, uncoached team. Like, we gotta get better at that, guys. We really do. This was bad. So, but it's game 1. We're not gonna freak out too much about it. So that kind of begs the question: is this season lost based off this game? And, the typical term for overreaction Monday, I'm going to say not yet. Not yet. I'm not there yet. Like, it's only been game 1. We still got a long season to go. We got another 16 weeks of this, or technically 18 if you include the bye week. So, like, I'm not pressing the panic button quite yet. I'm not pressing that quite yet. So, because there's a lot of good things we can take away from this game. But, we got to also acknowledge this team is in a rebuild year, and we're going to be seeing a lot of growing pains. We're going to see a lot of good things, but we're going to see a lot of bad things. So we have to be really got to practice this season is patience. And let me tell you, that's not an easy task, considering we're now in year 5 of, or technically 4 years missing the playoffs. Potentially could be 5 years in the making. But, here's the thing. We all kind of knew this could happen. We all knew this. So, like, people getting upset over social media or in person, wondering why the team just hasn't improved because we got a new coach and everything. You don't understand. Like, this, like, nobody quite understands that these things take time. Rebuilds suck. And I hate that we're in a rebuild, but you know what? Mickey Lewis put us in this situation, and Dennis Allen just helped them out along the way. We did this to they did it to themselves, and that's why we're in this mess to begin with. But I still believe in this team. We still have a lot of playmakers on this team. We just need to we gotta just get through this season with all the growing pains and everything. So it's gonna be a rough ride, folks. So just buckle up, prepare yourselves, and hope for the best at this point. So that's really the best summarization of this game I can speak of. So, but yeah, I'm not giving up hope quite yet, y'all. I'm excited for how this season is gonna roll, even if it's gonna be painful and excruciatingly painful to watch. But I'm a die-hard to this day, and I will always watch my Saints football, and that's something like a lot of Saints fans online are just saying, why are we wasting our money and time watching a team that continues to suck? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Look, I may have not been around for the bad years for the Saints, and I'm talking the really, really bad years. A lot of you old Saints fans will know this. But let me tell you, I looked at their records from previous years, and let me tell you, I think we're far better off where we're at now compared to what the Saints were doing back in the old 70s, entering the 80s, and all that. So I think we're going to be fine, folks. It's just going to be a rough year, but there's a lot. Like, this team, like I said, has a lot of talent. Rattler looks decent. I'm not expecting him to absolutely showcase himself, but he showed some growth that I'm really proud of. So now let's talk about Rattler for an extra second. I know I talked about him a good bit earlier in this episode, but I think we should talk about him because everyone's just going to be asking how long will he actually play after today's game. Some people initially gave him 6 games. Now they're dropping him down to like 3 or 4. Look, it's not our decision to make because clearly we're not the coach of the team. But I'm going to say that he makes it to about 6 games. That's just me. But unless somehow he turns it around, plays a lot more confident, and actually distributes the ball, not the way he's been doing, but at the same time taking nice, bigger chances down the field, then I think we'll be just fine. So, because Rattler wasn't that bad. He was definitely not a bad quarterback on Sunday. But, of course, we haven't gone through our gauntlet of the season yet where we got the Niners coming up, then the Buffalo Bills, and then somebody else's. I have to look at the schedule again, but it's going to be a rough look. But I think if Rattler can guide this offense to the best of his abilities, the way he did on Sunday, then we should feel pretty good about that. We just got to get used to it because it's not like the Drew Brees looking style kind of offense. Maybe some of us thought that would happen. I'm kind of guilty myself. I thought that maybe that would happen, but seeing how the offense looked on Sunday, I realized, that's never gonna happen, not by a long shot. So, and I'm totally fine with that. Because I know we know the offense can at least make some drives. We just got to make sure we score on those drives. That's something I want to see Rattler do this week. Like, he did a pretty decent job for the most part. For 3 out of 5 drives, he scored either a touchdown or a field goal. But I want to see more touchdowns than field goals. So of course, this matchup against the Niners is going to be a very fascinating matchup to look at because it's not only home in the Dome, but we're going against a team that's been really good in the last 5 years, despite last year where they had nothing working for them because they had injuries left and right. But I watched a little bit of the Niners yesterday right after the game, and they looked like they have a pretty stout defense again, which scares me. But at the same time, they look like they have a really strong offense as well, once again, despite losing almost half their offense to other teams. So it just depends on how the Saints play, and it really depends how well Rattler leads that offense. So this matchup is going to be a good matchup to watch for the most part, to see how well this team grows, whether we win or lose, and I'm expecting we're to lose next Sunday because taking down the Niners is difficult. Now, unless the Niners just completely overlook us and we catch them napping, then great, but I'm not expecting a victory against the Niners. I'm being straight up honest with y'all, given how we saw this team play on Sunday. Because, that's all I got for y'all. So, anyway, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Kind of a short episode today because I figured I'd just go over the stats real quick. But I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit that subscribe button and share amongst your friends. Help me grow my channel. I love you guys so much. Thank y'all for supporting my channel and everything, and y'all mean a lot to me. So, alrighty, gang, I'll talk to you guys later.
KK, you want a savior? We yelling black and gold to the Super Bowl. Black and gold to the Super Bowl.